Hi everyone, I'm Jack from Tomes and Travel, and today I'm here to talk about my experience of being a British Council English Language Assistant. Some of you know that I study languages at Durham University, and as part of the third year of my course I had to do a year abroad in Spain to learn the language, to practice the language, and to learn more about the culture. For the year abroad I had the option of either studying abroad at a university as an Erasmus exchange student or completing a work placement. I applied for the British Council's Language Assistantship Programme and I was successful with my application. So between October 2017 and May 2018, I worked abroad in a high school in Gran Canaria, which is an island in the Canary Islands which belong to Spain. Placement was 8 months in total and I had the best time ever. The school was amazing. All the students were really kind, they really wanted to learn, and the teachers were really supportive and really helpful when I moved to the city. It was a really enriching experience in which I developed a lot of confidence and also a lot of transferable skills that will be relevant to any career that I decide to go into. The experience was so beneficial for me that I decided to become an ambassador for the British Council's programme. So that's why I'm making a video today talking about the programme, who's eligible, what it involves, and also giving some advice to try and help people who might be thinking of applying. This might potentially be quite a long video, so in the description I will leave timings for different parts of the video down below in case you're only interested in watching a specific part of the video. So the first thing to talk about is obviously where you can go as an English language assistant, and really you can go all over the world. It's a really great program because it's such a well-established program. It's been going on for years, and because of that there are so many links that the British Council has with countries abroad. So I've written a list of the countries that you can go to so I don't miss any out. So the countries that you can apply for are Argentina, Austria, Belgium, Canada, Chile, China, Colombia, Ecuador, France, Germany, Italy, Mexico, Senegal, Spain and Switzerland. In most cases you need an EU passport and you need to have completed at least 2 years of university education. And obviously you need to be a native level speaker of English because you are teaching English. There is also some more eligibility criteria as well, but it depends on each country. Every country has slightly different rules. So I'll leave the link down below to the website where you can go and look at it. So what does it mean to be a British Council language assistant, and what does it involve doing? The language assistantship scheme is a paid placement, so you are always paid every month for the work that you do, which I think is great for a year abroad, particularly if you're doing it as part of a university degree and you want to do a work placement. Some of the year abroad work placements are not very good in the sense that you don't really get paid very much, and sometimes you don't get paid at all. They do a lot of unpaid internships in Spain, for example, that I've heard about. Sometimes they might provide you with free accommodation, but you don't really get any money coming into your bank. Whereas with the British Council's programme, you always get paid every month. The amount that you get paid will completely depend on the country that you're in, sometimes even the region that you're in. For example, with Spain, if you work in places like Madrid, you get paid more, but you also have to do more hours as well. So sometimes different parts of countries will be different because you get to pick your regional preferences as to where you want to be placed. You're not guaranteed to get your preference, but I selected the Canary Islands in Spain as my preference and I got it. So it's definitely possible to get your first choice region. For most of the British Council placements, if not all of them, it's between 12 and 20 hours. When I signed up to work in Spain, they told me that it would be 12 hours a week, spread over 4 days, and I would be paid €700 a month. For Spain that's really good because the rent is really cheap, so I always had money left over at the end of the month, even with €700. After about a month of the programme in Spain, I was asked to increase my hours to 16 hours per week, again spread over 4 days. In most cases you will get a day off, so you get nice 3-day weekends. I worked Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, so I had massive weekends of Saturday, Sunday and Monday. It was amazing. This is a great thing about the British Council's programme, is that you are working and you are earning a good amount for what you do, but you also have a lot of free time. And obviously the year abroad, whether you're doing it as part of a university degree or whether you're a graduate, because graduates are also eligible for the scheme as well, you have a lot of time to immerse yourself in the culture and to travel around and do things that you really want to do. You're not just working all the time. I really enjoyed my job, but I was also really appreciative of having time off. Some year abroad work placements are like 30 hours a week. You won't have a lot of free time if you do a 30-hour placement, whereas with a 12 to 20 hours placement, there's a lot more flexibility for travelling around and exploring the country and making memories. Being an English language assistant is all about supporting the teaching of English, whether it be in a primary school, a secondary school, or even a university in some cases. You will help the teachers to plan their lessons, and you will help them to come up with new ideas, and you will teach the students about UK culture. One of the big things that the British Council really encourages with the programme is passing on knowledge about UK culture. So you are basically like a spokesperson for the UK in many ways. Sometimes I took entire lessons to myself, sometimes I would just have a little bit of the lesson that the teacher would give over to me, and I would sort of add in a bit of extra things about British culture. So I did presentations about all kinds of things like Halloween, bonfire night, Christmas, Easter, all different kind of things about the UK, and I showed YouTube videos and I did Q&A sessions. I always made it very interactive so the students engaged. I think the students were genuinely really intrigued by the fact that I was a foreigner coming into their classroom and teaching them about the UK. They found it very authentic and they always wanted to ask me questions. And the students were just really interested, and I really appreciated that. I can't say that it's the same for every school because I only worked in one school, but from everyone else that's done the programme, I've also heard that they had great experiences as well. As well as going into the English language classes where I talked about UK culture and I also helped them with grammar and speaking and pronunciation, the school that I was in at Spain also had a bilingual project which basically involved the teaching of English in other subjects apart from English language. So subjects like music, technology, history, geography and classics, for example, were also taught in English to help the students practice their skills outside of just their regular English language learning. Don't be scared if you have to go into classes like this because you might not be an expert in music or technology. I don't know how to construct any kind of technological thing, to be honest, and I wasn't expected to. You are not expected to know a lot of information about these specialised subjects. You're just expected to kind of go in and help the teacher explain things a little bit, and usually I was just reading things out from leaflets that they were learning and reading out of the textbooks just so that they could practice their English a bit more. The teachers for these specialised subjects hadn't done degrees in English. Some of the teachers were still learning English themselves, so I would go in and just help if there were any problems with explaining things, and I would go around and talk to the students about what they were doing. For example, if they were carrying out a project in technology, I would go in and talk about the project, ask them what they were doing, what materials they were using, what the objectives were for the project, that kind of thing. The idea is really just to get the students speaking in English, because the more you get them speaking, the more confident they become. At the start of the year, there were a lot of students who were very shy and they didn't really want to speak much, which is completely understandable because I'm a foreigner from a different country with a different culture. But the more I started to talk to them, they gradually gained confidence, and by the end of the year they were so friendly, always asking questions. Even when I went out into the city shopping, I would see students, they would stop to ask me how my day was going. It made me feel like I was really appreciated for the work I was doing, and it was just such a great feeling to know that I was helping them. The teachers were really supportive as well. They helped me a lot moving to the city and sorting out things like accommodation and stuff like that. And they always told me about different cultural events that were happening in the city. They even let me come on some of the extracurricular activities with them, which was really great fun because I got to visit different places on the island of Gran Canaria that otherwise I might not have visited. I accompanied the teachers and the students to museum trips. I even went to the cinema with them and visited all these kind of unknown places that I would have probably not gone to otherwise. The final thing I wanted to talk about is a bit of application advice if you think that the programme is for you. Of course, there's a lot more information on the websites, which I will link down below, so definitely go check out the British Council's website. But I'm just going to talk about a bit of application advice from my own experience, and then if you want to know anything else, you can just let me know down below in the comments. For the application process, you will have to answer a few questions. I think there might have been around 4 or 5, between 500 words and 300 words for each answer, so it's not too much, but I would definitely recommend thinking seriously and taking your time to think through your answers, because it is a serious job application and you want to impress. The main thing that you really should focus on is the motivation. So why do you want to do the programme? What skills do you want to develop from doing it? Why do you think it will help you? And why would you be a good person to be an English language assistant? Also think about your motivation for why you're applying to a particular country, or if you select a regional preference, why are you interested in that region? I talked a lot about the historical and cultural things that I wanted to learn about particular regions. My first choice regional preference was the Canary Islands, and I explained about how I'd been there on holiday before, but when you're a tourist you don't really immerse yourself in the culture, so I'd seen little bits of the culture and I really wanted to learn more about it. So I talked about museums I wanted to visit, cities I wanted to visit, different places I wanted to travel to, just to make it really clear that I was really interested in that region and that I was actually passionate about it. One of the questions I had was a scenario-based one. It was about if I was teaching an English language lesson and I had to do a project about UK culture, what I would choose to talk about. I think I suggested I would do a lesson about food, and to be honest that happened quite a lot. I think I did an entire lesson about Yorkshire tea, so you can make lessons about basically anything related to the UK. There were also questions about when I had to work in a team, when I had to be a leader and work independently. So it's just about different experiences you've had in the past. Definitely try and think about work experience or volunteering work that you've done in the past. Also think about university as well. You can talk about your university experience in your application. The British Council know that most people doing the programme are either still in university or recent graduates, so they don't expect you to have extensive amounts of work experience, but they want you to think about what you already have done and what you've learned from that and why it makes you suitable for the programme. So I think that's everything I had to say about the British Council English Language Assistant programme. It was probably a ridiculously long video because there was so much to talk about. It's a great programme and I really want to encourage people to apply for it. I developed so much confidence, so many skills, and I just feel like it was a really enriching experience, and I'm so glad that I decided to be an English language assistant. So glad that I didn't go to study at a university abroad. I'm really happy that I chose to do a work placement, and the British Council were always very supportive. The application process was always very transparent, and even when I was abroad they sent monthly newsletters giving advice for ideas about what we could talk about related to UK culture, or just general advice about living abroad. As I said at the beginning of the video, I decided to become an ambassador for the programme, so that means my role is to basically talk about it, tell you what it involves, which is what I've done today, but also to help you and encourage you if you're thinking about applying. I've tried to give as much advice as I can in this video, but if there is anything that I haven't talked about or any questions or queries that you have, please leave a comment down below because I really want to get back to people and help them. Thank you so much for watching everyone. I hope this was helpful, and if you decide to become an English language assistant or if you are currently one, good luck, you will have an amazing time and I wish you all the best.